Welcome back everyone to the next model. I'm not doing an intro video on what this kit is. I think everyone's quite familiar with it. I've been posting online what I've been doing and what kits I've been working on. It's a very familiar model from Star Wars, and it's the Tentative 5 or the Rebel Blockade runner. I'm not going to show how it goes together at this stage. What I want to do is just show cleanup on the parts, and then the next video, once I come back, I've cleaned up the parts and I would have put a layer of grey primer on it. Then I can show how it goes together. But I'll just quickly go through all the parts and show where to clean up all the seams, etc., to make it fit together. It should be, in my opinion, an easy build. I've tried to make it as much or more clipped together and screwed together than any of the other kits. So I'm going to work from back to front. So I'll start at the back and then just show the part, show where to clean up. It's pretty obvious all the seam lines where the mold comes together. Some of these parts are open pore molds, so there's less cleanup on them. Okay, so I'm going to go from the back. The first main section you're going to have that holds everything together is the engine block, and that's a printed part. Okay, so that is this funny looking block thing with all the holes in the sides. This is going to need cleanup. I've taken all the support material out of it, out of the sides, just to get the print to work out pretty well. On top there is layer lines. So out of all the parts, this is the only one that needs the work on sanding, on a lot of sanding. So I haven't done it yet, but you can see the layer lines on this from the printing. So what you need to do is give it a light sand, fill it with what I use to Maya putty or similar, and then sand it down till it's smooth. Same on the sides. Doesn't need as much, a lot less. There are indentations where all the little parts go on, but that'll be explained in the build document, and as I do the build I'll do videos. Okay, so onto this goes the engine mountings. So the first one I'd say would be the centerpiece. Now the main engine. You'll see there's a seam line that runs right through where the screw must go in, so this needs to be opened up. The screw needs to bite onto the engine block. So just make sure that you work carefully with the tap which you get in the kit, and then just tap it quite neatly. Okay. So then next would be let's go with the main engines. Okay, let's go with the side mounts that holds the three engines on the left and right hand sides. You see there are bubbles in some of them, and it's a very difficult mold to make. A lot of the parts were. So I mean, don't mind about bubbles in the sections that you don't see. You can fill them if you like, but there shouldn't be many. But this will need to be worked, sanded down on the inner edge, around the sides, and then obviously any bubbles, use a Dremel to sand it out. Okay, then your central engines, where's the mount? Sorry, right here. Okay, so you have your top and bottom, which are different. They're pretty clean inside. If there's bubbles inside, it's from the silicone. It's not being pressurized, because everything's pressurized. Okay, so this will have a seam along the top. Okay, sand it down around the edge. Okay, then you sand all fill holes down. Okay, they're similar, these two. So the flashing should be able to just pull off quite easily. Okay, but use a sander. I mean, you can use a metal one. I mean, I've got these emery boards which work quite well. Nice big one. Okay. Next would be your main rear body, which consists of two parts. Okay. When they come together, it will look like this, which is a single printed part. Now I didn't go with this option because the mold would be way too big. Okay, so I went with separating them. They do clip together very easily. You'll find fill holes on this side. There are bubbles on the inner lower section. This side, sorry. I have sanded mine down. It's very easy. Just take a Dremel with your little sander. This one, and just zip it for like 2 seconds. Bubbles gone. Okay, It's important that the bubbles are away in this area because the pipe goes through, because you get a main pipe which is like a skeleton. It's this pipe. It's actually plumber pipe. It holds it together. Okay, and this slips in to that area. Any bubbles that are where the pipe doesn't need to fit on the inside of here, or even on the main long section, doesn't matter. You can sand them down if you want to, but it's not necessary. Okay, so on this section, there are bubbles on the inside. Over here. You can sand them if you want to, but you don't need to sand them, because the pipe, there's a gap, a space between the pipe and the edge of the model, of the wall. Then you got your top and bottom middle sections, which are these two. This being the top. It's quite white. I mean, once I put primer on, detail will be seen. But I've tried to dim the lights over here as much as I can, but it's not easy. Okay, but this all the way around the edge needs to be sanded down, and then your fill holes on the back end. Same with this one, the bottom one, all the way around the edge, and your fill holes are there and there and there. Okay. Then we've got the next section which has bubbles inside it, which need to be sanded up with your Dremel. So this is the next section where the head connects onto. There are bubbles on the inside. Okay, they need to be sanded down because the smaller pipe, which is this one, needs to fit snugly inside, and it won't go in with those bubbles. So try sand it down very, very carefully, because this needs to fit flush in the inside. Okay. Sorry, I didn't show this. This is your nozzle from the engine. Obviously, fill holes flush around the edge. Okay, very easy. 11 of them. And then you got your top and bottom sections that go into the rear end. So this is where the little bottom quad radar dish sits. Other side. Okay, it needs to be sanded down because it's got a full area on top. Same with the top one. This is where your radar dish sits. Okay, it needs this taken off. Okay, else it won't go in, so it has to sit flush. And then you got your head, final part. So yeah, said it will be easy. It's actually the biggest part of this kit is the engines, and they all actually go in without any glue needed. If you can glue them if you want to, but you can put this whole model together and then disassemble later and add lighting. So I've made it to add lighting to it. Okay, so your top and bottom of the head, around the edges, fill holes around these edges. They're actually quite smooth, straight out the mold. Okay, along these edges over here, be very careful because there is detail in these areas. And then your top one, same. You can see this flashing over here. It just pulls off. Okay, and then around this area here, this is where your this must go in. Okay, and then so sand everything down, dry fit, and then paint it with great primer, and then double check and see if you need to sand anything down. What I would suggest is sand down lightly, put the grey primer on, and then you can see where the defects are. Then you can touch up easily because you can see what's going on. The smaller parts I'm not going to explain. They're pretty self-explanatory of where the sanding is needed. I mean, these are the fins for the back end. Just lightly sand around the edges. Okay, the fill holes are on the wide sections. Okay, and you've got a bunch of little small parts that go in, like the docking ring. I don't think needs any sanding, to be honest. Most of these that go in, that were in an open mold, might need just light sanding. Okay, and here's for the rear engines, a bunch of little pieces. Okay, so In the next video when I come back, I will have everything sanded and primed, and then I'll show how it fits together. So do a dry fitting. Once that's done, then basically I'll show how it screws together. I'll have to test it out myself, see how it works, and then painting. So yeah, till the next video. Thanks guys, cheers. Quick correction at the end of the video over here. I'm going to splice this onto the end of that previous video on my explanation of this model. This is actually a CR90 Corvette, which can be the Rebel Blockade runner, which is originally seen in the New Hope, or it can be the original Falcon design that before they changed to the round shape, to the Falcon as we know it. So and then just out of interest sake, the Rebel Blockade runner that was used in A New Hope is not the same as the one seen in Return of the Jedi, because that original one was captured by the Empire, and subsequently in canon they destroyed it. They disassembled the ship. So in Return of the Jedi it's different. This top section in Return of the Jedi, has windows that run along the top. Okay, in this section. This one does not. So this is the original design that's seen in A New Hope. So if you want to do modifications, you have to do this yourself. But that's this version, and the same version as the Falcon that was originally designed. Okay, so that's just to clarify that for you guys. I will try and put a history up of the ship on the site, on my website, when I eventually finish the model. Okay, thanks, cheers.